Holy crap! He's back! And just when we thought it was safe to go back in the water. What's up, guys? Out here chilling in the garage. Just doing my normal silly car audio stuff. I call it a garage. I reckon it's more like a carport. But we work with what we have because, you know, stuff. Let's see who all's going to show up tonight in this random surprise live. I'm always surprised live. I never announce this stuff. Well, you know, I'm a very spontaneous kind of person. So I just sort of show up and start telling crazy stories, asking crazy questions, doing crazy things. Like right now, I'm looking for a zip tie, a smallish zip tie. All I'm finding is big ones. I'm in the zip tie supply. Guess we're going to have to work with a medium-sized zip tie. Is what it is. We'll see if anybody shows up tonight. If don't nobody show up, it ain't going to be much of a show. It ain't going to be much of a show. Propane accessories. Damn it, Bobby. What's up? Somebody's in the house. It's not going to be totally lonely. Who's in here? Who is that? And they're gone. Wow. I scared them off. Ah, somebody else showed up. Honestly, I just never know. We just never know how it's going to go. What's up, Extreme Subs? I am doing microphone maintenance. Trying to get things to sit properly. How are y'all this evening? I'm just been being tired. Connecticut. Heck yeah, man. That's all about. I used to make fun of that. Was my favorite word. Did you guys remember your homework? Because if you didn't, you got to write this on the board. What's up, Jason? We were playing Monopoly. Me and my sister and two stepsisters, and one of their husbands were playing Monopoly. And I used to like to try to make every word in Monopoly something foul, you know, grade school stuff. And I remember Connecticut, and I would always refer to it as Connecticut. And I would keep doing this over and over again. I would just come up with some way to say something foul that shouldn't be for everything that I had to say in the game, just to piss off all the girls. And well, they would just sit there and just get madder and madder and madder, which made me laugh and made my freaking day. Because this is what brothers do. So we got a third place trophy last weekend. I got beat by a girl and a friend of mine. So Amanda took first place in her little SUV thing. She's running a straight P.O.Box, so you know. And Caleb took second place with a P.O.Box in his Cadillac Escalade. And they're one-note wonders. I mean, I don't know what to say. And me, I rolled in there with this musical build, SQL, and dropped 30 hertz at 148.6 on the windshield. That's what I do. They were like 50 hertz, kind of thing. Anyway, Jason said he said he scored a Rockford amp and 2 Kenwood Exelon 12s in a box for the wife Tahoe today, buddy. Heck yeah, dude. It's funny is I could also see that the opposite build being cool too. A couple of Rockford 12s and a Kenwood Exelon amp. The best sounding car amps I've had have been Kenwood amps. They had one. It was really a lot of them sold, and it was like a 2 ohm. It was a 2 ohm minimum load on that amp, and it was, I want to say, 1,000 watts or 800 watts or something like that. Phenomenal good amp, though. I mean, you could just beat the tar out of it, and it would just keep banging. So I'm all about it, man. That's a nice setup. The wife's going to be very happy, and she's going to make you tacos. And tacos are good, baby. Connecticut. Like I said, I was the brother that terrified the sisters. The funny thing about that, though, as much as I messed with them, and they messed with me, you let somebody else try to step in and get in the middle of it, and you just got wrecked. Because we were all real tight, so it was fun. Me and my sister, my 2 stepsisters, we're not so tight no more, but me and my sister are still very tight. And, we enjoy each other's company and hanging out and, having fun still to this day. Tacos are good, yeah. Best way to get tacos is to put sounds in your wife's vehicle. That right there is a good move for tacos. So I don't know if you guys noticed my little video I uploaded a couple. I got another one coming. But I uploaded a song called Thunder 33. If you haven't checked that out, the video, it's just a couple minutes long. It's pretty intense. And I'm thinking it plays it's somewhere between 28 and up, but it mostly dwells around the low 30s, around 33 hertz. But boy, does it bring the slam to it. Man, it's a good track. So to start things out, do you guys have any questions you'd like to hit me with tonight? Because I am mostly ears and glasses and a zip tie that I have to cut off. I haven't went inside to grab my my cutters, so I have this zip tie. I didn't really have any really good meat to bring you guys tonight, and I apologize for that. Mostly I just popped on to answer questions and to, I got a couple things I'm talking about though. But if y'all are desperate for conversation, I can definitely give you a little bit of that. So, man, get on it then. So yeah, I've been looking at doing a B-pillar wall and the Tahoe. And I don't know when it's going to start or if it's going to start, but let's go over here and have a little peek-see. I'll show you what I got in my brain. We'll talk about it. We'll look at it and we'll try not to trip over it. And we'll talk about it a little bit because I don't have a light. So this is going to be really bad. Oh yeah, that was That that worked perfectly. This this is working flawless. Flawless. Um ah Ray. Hello, sir. Savior, because I'm kind of screwed. I guess I can work on getting the light over there. Let me set the camera up over here so I'm not carrying you guys around, and I'll work on getting the light, and I'll answer that question that you ask. So that should work. So, Ray says, how much power can you expect to get out of stock electrical? Well, it kind of depends on what you mean by stock electrical. If you're just talking about your alternator, then that's going to depend on what kind of alternator you have. You know, how much current you're getting out of your alternator. If you've got a little small Civic or something like that, where you got maybe 80 or 100, 110 amp alternator, you're not going to get a lot out of it. But what can save you is a lot of storage. So here's the thing. To support a middle of the road system, you either need a lot of charging or a lot of storage. And you can get by with either one, just one. If you've got, for example, a 370 amp alternator, but you only got a stock battery, a single stock battery, that can work, right? If you've got a, on the other hand, if you've got a small alternator, like a little small stock alternator, but you've got a trunk thunder lithium 10K back there to support it, then that can work too. So it kind of depends on how much of your stockness is stockness and what it is. But I will say this, without doing any major upgrades to your electrical, meaning your charging system, just upgrading your battery to a trunk thunder lithium 5K, the 5K V2, that will by itself let you be able to support a 5,000 watt amplifier. And that's not a terrible upgrade. And that's also, of course, making sure you've done the big three on your electrical. Got a heavier ground, a heavier power, and all that sort of stuff. So the supporting structure for it. But you don't necessarily have to do that coming from your alternator, because your battery is going to be carrying most of the system. And your alternator is going to be refilling it while it's not playing, and or in between songs, and or in between heavy bass notes. It's going to be trying to refill it. As long as your average power consumption is lower than your alternator's output, then you're fine. And you can continue to do that indefinitely. If your average power becomes more than what your alternator's output is, then you'll slowly deplete the battery. And after a while, you're eventually going to have to stop and charge. But if you got a good, strong battery like the trunk thunder lithium 5K or 10K, you'll be solid with a stock alternator for 5 to 10,000 watts, depending on which battery you have. And then whenever you upgrade the alternator, you can double what that battery is. So if you've got a trunk thunder lithium 5K on stock alternator, it's fine. If you upgrade the alternator to something like a 320 or a 350 or a 370 or something like that, you can double that to a 10,000 watt amplifier on that 5K battery. Same thing If you get the 10K, you can't double it, but the 10K, you can run it on a stock and get 10,000 watts out of it. And if you upgrade the alternator and the charger wires and all that, you could easily get 15,000 watts on that battery. So these are your best upgrade path. Is the first thing you want to do is head over to Truck Thunder Lithium and use my coupon code CAE10 and pick up either the 5K or the 10K, depending on how much power you're trying to pull. And then later on, you could upgrade the alternator as well if need be. But you'll actually survive quite well off just that. So, this is a horrible view. But, so right now, you guys can see my subs are right here. My wall's right there. And you can see my seats are right here. Now, what I got contemplating in my brain, in my skull, there's stuff in there. I know you guys are laughing right now saying there ain't nothing in there. Yeah, there is. There's stuff. There's cobwebs and there's all sorts of, rat tails and things. What I'm contemplating is at some point in the near future, maybe the mid future, doing a B-pillar wall, and but not exactly a B-pillar wall. So you see the back of my seats are right here, right? Well, this box that's in here is actually this wall is actually a slide-in box, and so I can move this whole thing forward to about right here, right? Which I put the speakers kind of in behind each seat and the port right between the seats. This will also allow me to put that box underneath that hump on the ceiling up there. So the box will fit right up against the ceiling with about a 1/2 inch to spare. And that's the beautiful part, is that 1/2 inch. So that 1/2 inch is the magic. Now, whenever I slide the box in here and slide it up forward, I can put a 1/2 inch piece of plywood on top of that box that's cut to fit the roof underneath up here. So think like the brim of a hat kind of a thing. If my face was the box and the brim of the hat sticks out, it slides up there and covers up the sunroof. So the sunroof is protected. See what I'm saying? And sealed up. And that puts pressure on that roof, makes the roof rigid. All the good stuff is happening. Lots of bass. Yeah, buddy. So yeah, that's the thing I got in my head that I've been cooking on. And I'm still trying to decide on how, when, and if I'm going to play that game. What's up? J97 said, good evening. Good evening to you too. But I'm going to have a video on that in the near future about how that plan is going to go and what I want to do. So I'm just kind of giving you guys a little pre-information, I guess you would say. A little bit of little taco here and there. I really wasn't expecting a big show tonight, but I was hoping for a few people, and I have got a few people. Do you guys have any questions for me this evening? Because right now it's slow, and this is a good time to hit me up with those difficult questions that you've been trying to figure out about your car. What's going on? What kind of builds you got planned? What kind of changes you're going to have that you're going to make? What kind of problems you're having? Decisions you're trying to make, going back and forth. I can input on all that stuff. I was at the car wash today, and the guy saw the sticker on the back of my Tahoe. This happens a lot, actually. And so I had to give free demos. So I had to give him and his wife demos. And then while I was doing that, another guy showed up in a different car, completely unrelated. And he wanted a demo. So I gave him a demo. Well, by the time I had done 3 demos at this car wash, the guy that owned the car wash had come outside and was giving me all sorts of really crazy looks. And so I hollered at him and told him I said, I apologize, man. I wasn't trying to disturb your business. And, which I really didn't care. But, you know, it's trying to be socially nice. And, he comes over and talks. We talk a little bit. And then before you know it, of course, he's up there in the passenger seat of the Thunder Hoe getting his demo, because that's how that works. And so that was 4 demos. And one of them was the guy that was coming out to complain about the other 3 demos. This Thunder Hoe has magic about it. You know, it does magical things. So yes, the Atom amp. Said you're looking to run a 7.5K Pro on your 2 Sundown 12 V3s. What are my thoughts? I don't know the specs on Pro on my 2 Sundown 12 V3s. I don't know the specs on those drivers, so my information is going to be kind of general. I would say that's probably going to be solid as long as you've got the electrical to support that. You're going to make every bit of 8,000 watts pretty much, and this amp tends to hold its wattage up whenever the impedance goes up too. So as that impedance rises, this amp tends to continue to make power. I don't think it has the regulated power supply exactly, but it does tend to keep making power even as the impedance rises. So you'll be pretty solidly in the 8,000 watt range on a constant basis. And I think you'll get plenty of action out of those 12s. Should be really good. I'm also interested in what kind of box you're going to be running too. A wall, flat wall, box, ported, I'm sure. Ported, or, you know, something to that effect. Yes. So, Katie. Now, well, I can answer that question. Katie says, hi, I love your content, but have you used JL HD amplifier, and what's your thoughts? Oh, yeah. So you may not be able to recognize that. This is a JL 450/4. That's what's playing my mids and highs. It's also known as Darth Vader because it's black. It didn't used to be black. It used to be like a brushed steel color with the JL, the little JL on a symbol there. And that's all went away years ago. It got put into multiple custom builds, repainted multiple times. And I got it in, it had about 14 layers of different color paint on it. I took it apart, did the whole thing on the inside, put new thermal compound on everything, cleaned the board, checked everything, put it all back together and bed lined it, sanded it down and bed lined the whole thing. And I've got a bunch of really nice amplifiers, mids and highs amps, but my favorite is still the JL 450/4. It's just a really good sounding amplifier, plain and simple. As far as the HD, I don't know, but I put my money on JL for making good sounding mids and highs amps. One of my very favorite subwoofers of all time. Well, I have 2 actually, and they're both JLs. One was the JL 15W3s, the old school ones from back in the 90s. The second one was I can't remember the nomenclature. There's a 3 and a 5, the two JL thin subs. There's a something 3 and a something 5. And they have a 10-inch version and a 12-inch version. So essentially, there's 4 different subs in that category. Those are, is it TS3 and TS5 or TW3? I can't remember, but it's a 3 and a 5. So those and the W3s from the 90s, 2 of my very favorite subwoofers. So yeah, I'm all about some JL stuff. So Jazz says, nice. I currently have a Scar 3500 on them, just regularly ported. Yes. You will see a monstrous difference with that 7500. Monstrous difference. And you'll also, the power consumption is going to go up, but not as much as you might think. Scar has a tendency to be a bit of a power hog. So, you know, they just need more power than a lot of other subwoofers to do the thing. So you may actually not see as much of a power draw increase as you think. Not saying that the Def Bonds amps are efficient, because when they're probably not terrible, but you know, it is what it is. Hopefully you got the backbone for it. If you don't, you need to head over here to Trunks Under Lithium and pick up the Trunks Under Lithium 10K. Probably be what you want to do. Go ahead and bite the bullet and get the 10K V2. And that'll sort out your problems before you ever get to them. You'll find that amp, that battery and that amp will deliver really awesome things to your vehicle and your subwoofers. Let's see. Anybody else got any questions? Because I'm here to answer all the questions today. Oh, 96 amp hour headway. That'll work. I'm not a huge fan of headway. You guys know about the headway fire 2024? Yeah, but people get away with running it. You know, I was doing a couple of stupid things with mine, and those 2 things added up to fire in my Tahoe. Big flames, walls of fire behind me. Yeah, not a. When I got that headway bank out of my vehicle, I threw it in the snow as far as I could throw it into a pile of snow. And it stayed out here until somebody picked it up like a week later. I didn't want nothing else to do with it. Having said that, I've got a lot of buddies that run headway, have no issues. What I will tell you is 2 things you do not want to do. You do not want to charge them hard. Yeah, right. You don't want to charge them hard, especially when it's cold. And you don't want to charge them at all when it's really cold. If it's like, you know, getting down well below freezing outside, don't play the system. Don't put no load on them. Don't be out there boosting it off if it's dead and throwing that big old healthy charge to them while they're really, really super cold. You're going to wind up with flames. Cold, hard charging, headway, those 3 things should never be put together in one sentence. That's the only advice I can give you, brother. Yeah, you're probably okay there. Just keep that shit in mind. Just looking out. What AGMs would I suggest these days? Not wanting to do lithium. If you're trying to be reasonable, stay in a budget, and you're not wanting to do lithium, I would go to Interstate And because interstate, look up interstate batteries in your area and head over to interstate. And they do reconditioned batteries there. And a lot of times you can get them for about a third of the price of a new one. And they've all been maintained and reconditioned. They're great batteries. And especially if you're doing car audio, you may be doing 2 or 3 or 4 or 9. That's what I would do. Save yourself, at least 75% of the money that you would spend and get 90% of the battery that you would have gotten. It's a good deal. But if you're not going to do that, if you want to buy new stuff, then I would look at North Star or Odyssey. Odyssey or North Star. Those are 2 excellent companies. But you're going to pay for those batteries. Just saying. So, yeah. Trying to do 5K RMS again. And my Yukon, brother. 5K. Yeah, trunked under lithium. 5K, man. That's just what you want. Look here, man. Let me explain something to you. I know this hurts, okay? I know it hurts. I really do. But you see this little thing right here? This thing right here. If it wasn't hooked up, I can grab it with 2 fingers like this and pick it up and like that. Hold it and show it to you. Hand it to you. Toss it to you. You can catch it with 1 hand. That little battery will support 10,000 watts all by itself with a high output alternator. Like a 300, 350 amp alternator, it will support 10,000 watts and it weighs a couple of pounds. To do the same thing with AGM would require about 5 40-pound AGM Group 31 batteries. Just saying. The difference is substantial. And these lithiums are good down to about 10 below. We're calling it 0, but they're actually capable of going lower than that without any issues. So we're not worried about temperature. We're not worried about charging. Unless you're charging over 14.8, you're fine. And the price is better for the power that you get. The weight is better for the power that you get, tremendously better. The size is better for the power that you get. Don't forget the instant output that this thing's capable of is similar to a capacitor. It can dump tons of power very quickly. It's something AGMs can't really do. And it can also take in tons of power very quickly. Again, something AGMs can't really do. But if you're interested in doing lithium, trunked under lithium, coupon code CAE10. You're going to get into something at a reasonable price that's well done, well designed, and well tested. You're going to get a solid product that's going to blow your freaking mind and do all the stuff that you want your AGM to do, cost less, take up less space, and a ton lighter. Sorry, man. It's just the truth. It's such a big, huge jump. It's not like going from one name brand AGM to another. It's like going from a bicycle to a Ninja. They both have 2 wheels, but that's where it ends. That is the LiPo. It's the same technology. It's the same chemistry that's in Headway, but it's a completely different design and the way the batteries are made. So the cells in this were actually designed for the Chinese military. And they had to have extremely good weather-resistant cells. They're much different design of battery than Headway batteries, although the chemistry is technically the same. But if you want to know more about it, the best way I could tell you to do is go to Trunked Under Lithium, check it out, use your eyeballs, because my information is maybe wrong here and there, but you can get the real stuff there. And if you're confused about it, talk to Brandon. Brandon will cover everything. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, dude, yeah, the winters are cold. Well, talk to Brandon. Look at your record lows in the last 5 years. You know, figure out what they are. Michigan is pretty rough, man. But Brandon lives up that way too, so he's running lithium and his stuff. So don't stress over it too much. But talk to him, tell him where you live, and check into it yourself. But you're not going to find a better price for the power that you're going to get with anybody else. And I trust his work over every other lithium battery out there. Just got done building a 48 amp hour headway. Just remember, it don't like really cold and it don't like to be charged hard at the same time. Really cold, big charging, headway, those three equal bad things. Don't do all three of those together. It'll be able to handle that, no problem. So keep up. Yeah, that 8K or do 8K Big Boss. Yeah, it'll handle that. On 48 amp hours, that's pretty close to being the right amount. It's not over or under. It's pretty close to being about the right amount. If I was going to run, 8,000 watts off of headway, I'd be running twice that though. I'd go for the 96 amp hours. But I'm overkill. I'm all about overkill. Overkill is underrated. Yeah, that's solid. If I was going to pick between the two, I've used the Boss 8K. Love the amps. Great amplifier. I straight up would buy this one again. No problem. Size, everything about it is it's a great sounding amp, and I know what this does and how much torture it'll take. And I've already beat the daylights out of it, and it just keeps doing the thing. So I'm going to go with the known factor in my case. X-Max 45 lithium. Okay. Yeah, you got yourself covered then. You're good to go. What a UC31. Yep. That should do the job. The crazy thing is, this little battery here is only a 20 amp hour battery. But the difference between this and headway is so different that even with this little guy being 20 amp hours, it can support what 96 amp hours of headway can. It's just such a huge jump. That's a hell of a combination. X-Max 45 with a UC31 on a 48 amp hour headway. As long as your voltages, your resting voltages aren't fighting in that scenario, then you're okay. So my setup is more streamlined, not as much storage as what you have, but I think I've kind of got it in the right place. So over here is an Ioxys Ultra Cap. That's what's right there. And then I have my Trunk Thunder Lithium 10K. And over here, guys can probably see it, right there is a battery isolator that isolates the cap. So this, when the key's on, this closes the circuit and puts the cap in the circuit. When the engine's off, this goes off. And the cap gets cut off. Even though the cap has a management, like a battery management system in it that turns it off, I actually kill power to it, so it gets cut off. Under the hood, I've got two alternators. One's a 300 amp electrical, like a China Amazon special alternator. It's charging a Odyssey Extreme Group 31 AGM under the hood, and that runs the Tahoe. Then I have a 370 amp Team GP alternator that's sending power back here just to the stereo, and it's charging this battery and the capacitor, and it's running the system. And I have a breaker under the hood that I can close, which ties the systems together. So normal circumstances, I can separate my cap from my AGM and separate my AGM from my lithium. All three can be totally separate, and all three can be combined together. And also I can separate the alternators and I can combine them together. I've set the system up in such a way that I'm very flexible. That's my setup. Pushing two. Yeah. So you're pushing 2 12s. Only issue is you have a stock alternator. Yep, it's a Honda. Man, Hondas. Okay, I can tell you a secret that might help you out with your alternator issue. Number one, you got a lot of storage. That's a good start. That'll cover you for the most part. But to get that upgrade, what you want to do is find an alternator shop where they fix alternators. I have one here in Springfield. I think it's called Accurate Alternators, Accurate Electric. I have a video. Look through my videos, find that the Accurate Electric alternator guy video from a couple months ago. And you can call him up and he can actually send him an alternator, send him a stocker. And if he can get stuff to do it with, he'll build you an alternator out of a stock one. I can't promise that that's going to be available, but if it is available, that cat can do it. So, Jazz says I'm still on stock alt, like 180-ish. Hold up with my 3,500 watt headways, like 180 amps. Charge, hold up. XMAX 45 is a 200 amp assistant built into the battery. Yeah, that's probably a capacitor, if I'm guessing. Nothing wrong with a hybrid cap AGM or a cap lithium. That's what I'm running back here. I built my own hybrid setup. Just don't overpay for this stuff. That's the only problem I have with a lot of these companies is you'll be overpaying for. It isn't that the stuff isn't good quality stuff. It's just that you're paying too much for it. That's why I tell everybody, these are the guys that I sponsor. These are the guys that I work with. And the reason is you're getting what you pay for. You're getting really good batteries for less money. And you're getting the good stuff and you're not paying the good stuff price. You're paying the okay stuff price. You know, I don't know what to tell you. You can go overpay for the same thing or even less, or you can get what you pay for and get a really good battery it runs under. Not to mention you get 10% off with my discount code. That's 10%, man. That's like, you know, however much. It's a lot. So it is what it is, man. And the Bobby B has entered the house. Bobby B, you know, I don't announce my streams, but you must not check usually you show up pretty quick, you know. And y'all, by the way, Bobby B's a bouncer, so if you get out of line, he will give you the door. Quick, like in a hurry. He's my bouncer. He's usually here when I first come on. I think he just waits. He just sits around and waits for me to do a live. What's up tonight, Bobby? We've been talking about batteries, all sorts of crazy basehead nonsense tonight. And if you forgot your homework, you got to go write it on the board. I will not forget my homework again. Ain't having it. At the store. Oh, that explains it. That explains it. That makes sense. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button. Because see, every like I get, that feeds a child in another country. Actually, no, it just makes my videos go up higher in the algorithm. But what'd you buy me, Bobby? Did you give me some tacos? Did you get some burgers? I could always use a pork chop. I had some goulash earlier today, but I'm really itching to go over here and fire the grill up and put some burgers on the grill. Gonna make some of them meatloaf burgers. John said, "Thank you for the info. I've been wondering if I had enough power for my 8K." You do, but it's gonna be snug. Actually, you said you do. Yeah. With your 2 banks, yeah, you're good. You're good. Ricky Froggy says, "All right, in Missouri. I are in Missouri. I'm actually in Springfield, Missouri, and the wifey is home." Wifey, she's still getting out. She's gonna be mad at me. She'll probably pick up something and throw it. She's mean. No, she's mean to me. She's so mean. Wifey, come say hi. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Honking the hell out of that horn. Don't trip over the rock or that green thing that falls out of them.
Yeah, I stepped on them this morning and nearly.
I hate those things.
Busted my.
What do they call those? They got a name. Hang on a minute. Oh shit! I did something bad, didn't I? I'll get it though. All right, guys. Somebody in the comment section, tell me what the hell this thing is. I can't remember. It's heavy. It weighs about like a softball. Y'all say hi to wifey.
Hi.
I'm sorry. You can go inside. I love you. Yeah, I mangled 2 hours. Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I'm actually, Bobby, I'm actually going to probably get some of that liquid rubber stuff. It comes in like a paint can. You dip things in it and it has rubber on it. And I'll be using some of that because I like that stuff. I've used it before. What is this thing called? 2 hours. 2 hours. 2 hours. That's probably up towards St. Louis, maybe. I'm guessing maybe up Farmington, a little past Farmington, up that direction. Yeah, St. Louis. St. Louis. Yeah, up towards St. Louis. I'm guessing that you're up towards St. Louis. Either that or you're over by Tulsa, Oklahoma. One of those 2 places. Kansas. Fair. I was the only direction I didn't point. Jason says hello. And Ricky says he's in Kansas. Yeah, well, it is what it is. So what is this thing? Somebody told me what it was one day and I cannot remember what it is. You guys look at it. Look at it. Look at this damn thing. It falls out of the trees and it weighs like, I'm telling you, it's like a softball. This thing falls on you, it will knock you the hell out. That's why I can't park over there on that side during the spring or during the fall, because things fall in the fall and will knock you the hell out. I don't know what they are. I guarantee you could throw this at something good and hard and probably kill it. Nobody knows what it is. I can't believe you guys. Man, especially Bobby. I just figured Bobby would just pop it right out. I there's some kind of apple, some kind of, God, I can't remember what the name of it is. Something apple, maybe. Osage oranges. Holy shit, man. Well, if this is, I don't think this is something you'd want to eat. But I'm going to tell you guys, when stuff like this falls out of a tree, it has seeds in it. And those damn seeds need something to eat until they start sprouting roots and growing, growing leaves and stuff. This is a hungry little seed if it needs all this. I mean, this is like a packing a monstrous lunch. Whatever that thing is, that's a lot of growing it needs to do before, because that's a lot of food to carry on your little road trip down to the dirt. Let's give it a sail. It hit the fence, goes stunk. That sounds kind of right. I think it's some kind of apple, but I don't think it's a horse apple. But it's close. Yeah, except it falls out of a tree. Gourds don't grow in trees. That's watermelons and shit like that. Gourds. They grow out of the ground like on a vine. This thing fell out of a tree. So, I know it's the size of a softball, and it's about the same. It's a little heavier than a softball. Does anybody else got any questions for this crazy car audio guy? We have gourds. Oh, guess what? Somebody wanted me to rebase. I have rebased. Dirty Laundry, and I'm in the test. Yeah. Well, this ain't no mini watermelon. This is something to kill people with. I rebased Dirty Laundry, and it's in the final test phase. I had a little bit of EQ and work before I get done with it, and then I'll release it on the YouTube. It's almost there, though. It's close. But someone wanted me to rebase the song from Revenge of the Nerds. You guys remember that? With the dude playing the violin and ding, he shoots this thing way up in the air like that. DJ Siren, got it recommended some cheap. Got any recommendation? Some cheap sound editing? Yes, I can recommend a couple. Noiko, the gold stuff, has little squares. They're about a half-inch squares. It's gold. It's from Russia. It's really good stuff if it's available. And then there's Killmat. Both of those are in like a 40 mil, I think, somewhere in that range, and it's usually pretty inexpensive. So if you're wanting some inexpensive deadener, that's it. And the prices vary up and down. But I think if you look up Killmat and Noiko, Noico, sound deadener, you'll find the avenue that you're seeking. Both of those two are good products, especially for the money. They're excellent products. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, and that's where you're going to find both of those two is on Amazon. Hey, Bobby, have you heard how El Fuego's doing? Hope he's getting better, feeling better. Yeah. Have you ever competed at Ruckus Audio or Sundown in North Carolina? I've been all over the United States and every state many times. But as far as taking the Tahoe there, no. I was driving a truck throughout that, so I haven't got a chance to do that. Since I started competing again, my income has been like zero, basically. So traveling, especially driving this thing a long ways, it's not really a thing right now. Good to hear, man. Good to hear, Bobby. I hope he's doing better, man. I know surgeries can be a real pain. Yeah, pain. Really gets you down. Scar dampening works great. Again, I think you're paying a lot for it, but you're probably not as bad as some other places. So I can't speak on it one way or the other. I would be willing to bet you it costs more than Kilmat and or Norco, though. And Bobby said he's using the scooter to get around the house. I could tell you guys a story about when I got really fat. I had a it's been about 8 years ago. I got up to just a little over 400 pounds. And I was taking a glass full of medication every day. I was on oxygen. I had a power scooter thing that I got around on. I was 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot on a banana peel. And I went and gave away my scooter. I gave my oxygen machine away. I stopped taking all the medication. And I just said, screw it. If I'm either going to die or I'm going to live, but I'm not going to do what I'm doing right now. And it just so happened that I've come back out of that, lost like a whole lot of weight. I went from over 400 to a little over 200. So I lost 200 pounds, actually more than that. I've gained a little bit back. And I'm taking like 2 or 3 pills a day now instead of a great big glass full of medication. So yeah, I've been through the shitter, man, like multiple times. Good SQL sub besides JL audio. The Audio Dynamics 2000 series at 500 watts each. The 12s. They have a more expensive variant too, mind you. They have the 3000s, the 4s, 5s, and the 6000 series. But we're not going there. I'm specifically saying the AD 2000 series. And they're, like I said, they're rated at RMS 500 watts RMS each. Are some of the juiciest sounding subs I've heard in a long time. Very smooth. There's not a lot of cone noise or anything like that, which you get from some subwoofers. There's not a lot of that noise you get from the surround, flopping and all those things. They're just good, smooth, silky sounding subs. They play good and tight. They're very responsive and tight and musical. And yeah, for 500 watts, it's a great setup for it. Hopefully that's answered your question. And John said, God bless. Bobby, I appreciate you, Bobby. But yeah, so I went through the shitter. I went through a lot of stuff, and several different points in my life, I was so close to dead. And it's been like 20 years ago that multiple doctors told me that I had a couple of years left, and I might not make it that long. They were skeptical to try to give me any time because they didn't think I was going to live very long. And I really shouldn't have. I just jumped off the cliff and got lucky and didn't die. That's what I did. Bobby says, was 380 down to 320, need to lose another 100. Yeah. If you wasn't 6'2", you'd be a rotund individual. I got a buddy that's I want to say he's like 6'4", 6'5". He's very tall, and he weighs well over 500 pounds. It's one of those people that when he's in the room, he doesn't look right. You know what I mean? He's like, you see the normal people and then him, and it's like, you kind of feel like there's something wrong with you, or yeah, he's just abnormally large, big dude. It is what it is. Of course, he's also what you call a teddy bear. Most big dudes are very kind-hearted, chilled out people. But hardly ever do you see a great big, solid dude that like wants to kick everyone's butt all the time. That's just not a thing that goes together. They're all teddy bears. Oh yeah. I'll have to check that one out. I'll pay attention to it next time. Man, I bet you make both of them look like little tiny shrimp because they're both small people. Nando and Dean are both little bitty dudes. I can just see you, 6'2", 300 plus, like you could eat either one of them. Up, Jubs has joined the chat. It's this evening, everyone. Evening, Jubs. How are you today? I am answering questions to the best of my ability on this live. Doing my best to give what information I have and opinion I have. And Scotty, Gotti has showed up for the live stream. It was quiet in here until you showed up. Actually, Bobby showed up and he broke the silence. He came in slamming his fist into the walls, and everybody just, Thank you, Scotty. I did my best, man. I did my best. I try to drop the beat on it, my demos, I've had a long day, but it has been kind of a meh, not good or bad, just a meh day. But Scotty, my demos more consist of going to a nightclub rather than being shoved into a subwoofer enclosure. So I can drop pretty good bass. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm pushing 150 at 30 hertz. So, and I'm actually capable of playing quite a bit lower than that. I can still do like a 143 or it was a 144 at like 26 hertz. So it's got some violence to it, but I'm more interested in getting the the whole experience out there, not just the bass. Scotty said he's getting ready for October. Yeah, I am too. I'm actually ready for October, and of course October is like tomorrow, so there's that. Real Cisco Montano. Did I ever hear that guy's 15 in the HHR? No. I wanted to. But when I'm out there, I'm running from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. And there's just so many pulls in so many directions. And I a lot of times forget to do that. So I didn't see it. He was getting down though. I know that. He was absolutely getting down. Pedro Veliz. Belize? I'm sure it's Belize. No, I'm probably being a moron. I'm going to go with Pedro. From Central Florida reporting, God bless y'all, base heads. Yes, we need all the blessings we can get because of base. And I got some information for you guys. Something I just remembered. I'm going to do a video about this, but you guys are here tonight. I'm going to tell you about it ahead of time. So I was out doing base head things earlier. Told you I was giving demos to the people at the car wash and otherwise just being a general hoodlum at the red lights, right? Belize. Ha! I knew it was Belize. All right. Even though it doesn't look like it is, I knew that's what it was. Man, thank you. Glad to hear that. So what I was going to tell you I got back here and out of curiosity, I started walking around handling wires because I make it a habit to randomly go around and pull on wires, check nuts, see if things move, feel for them to be loose, find anything that's worked its way loose and tighten it. Well, I was doing that. All the wires, everything was cold except these wires. These wires were quite warm, and which means there's resistance. I'm pulling more power through these wires than I should be pulling through them. Now, they're handling it, but they're getting warm. So the crux of it is that means I need to have doublers on here to run the current that I'm pulling through those. I'm going to have to figure out a way to hook up 8 wires from here to here on 2 terminals on each side. It's going, and plus the wires are already there. So there'll be 6 wires on each side, and all that's going to be concentrated in this little space. And you guys know how that heavy gauge wire is trying to do something ridiculous like that. But we've got to do something because that heat tells me that I am resisting. And resisting means I'm losing power and I'm turning potential energy into thermal energy. And I do not want thermal energy. I want electrical energy. Let's see what we got going on here. Go back. Bobby B says, my stock positive power wire starter alt is both 8 gauge. So I need to lengthen them. Lengthen them about 6 inches to my aftermarket battery terminals. Gauge. Yes, and I would, if you're going to do anything to those wires, I would replace both of them with an alt gauge cable. Get some alt gauge welding wire from Flex Whip. Look up Flex Whip, try to find it on Amazon, and get the Flex Whip welding cable and an alt gauge, and replace both of them with that, and Bob's your uncle. I love that Flex Whip, guys. I'm using stuff that I've got stashed because I have it already. But if I buy any power wire from this point on, it's going to be Flex Whip power wire. If I can get it in the gauge I want it, that's what it's going to be. Real Cisco Montano, thanks. Just wondering, single sub gang, getting my old school kicker solo in the car suite. That should be good, baby. That should be real good. If I'm running a single sub, I typically like to run a larger box than what the sub calls for. I like to add about 10% or 20% to the box volume. It tends to play deeper, and you got the room for it because you're only running a single sub. So I usually go with a little bit bigger box when it calls for it and get those lows coming in. That's just my personal jam. And Bobby, I think I recommended what I recommended. Flex Whip. Look it up. Replace them both with alt gauge. You think? That's going to be a freaking mother. Oh, I can't wait. Trying to get all those runs of alt gauge and that. And oh, yeah, it's going to be. I'm going to have to come up with something. I have to come up with a plan. I don't know yet. Judge says there's some 3-to-1 alt gauge offset input blocks on eBay for less than $30. I shall look into that. That might be a thing. 3-into-1. 3-into-1. I don't. Yeah, I only need 2-into-1. I've got those already. That's the best kind is the ones you've already got. But the offset, like if I'd like to see some. Are you talking about something that has a 90-degree turn to it? That would be cool. If you come out of the amp and then turn 90 degrees and go like that with the wires, that in certain situations would be epic. Yeah, me either. Maybe I'll do it in a live. How about that? That would be fun. What about the 8-gauge for my factory fuse box? You don't need to. The one from your factory fuse box, you can leave that as an 8-gauge. There's no need to upgrade it, but the one running from your alternator to your battery, especially, upgrade it. And if you're going to lengthen the 8-gauge, if you're going to lengthen that 8-gauge from the starter up, just replace it with that flex whip. Don't even bother getting another piece of, just replace it. It's not that expensive, and then you won't have to worry about it ever. I do like that wire. It's good stuff. But yeah, the one going to your fuse box, 8-gauge is fine. It's not. It'll never see more than about 20 or 30 amps tops. So, and that's if everything's on maxed out and all that. So, yeah, you ain't got to worry about it. You could run most of your car off a single 30 amp relay. There's really not a lot of power going on in the car outside of the engine bay. Yeah, John. I'm still see that's still a thing, man. Because guys, look, man, seriously, I'm gonna let y'all because like Andy says, sometimes you just gotta look at it. So we're gonna look at it. Now, y'all can see what's going on here. Uh-oh. Y'all went way. What are you guys, drunk or something? Come on, man. Stand up. Stand on the own 2 feet. All right, here we go. Get some more light. Now, y'all can see I'm going to have doubler, 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 doubler. So exactly 2 of all this. And that means I got to run. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I'm going to wind up doing something different to get that to work. About the only thing I can think of is possibly moving this amp. But if you're watching closely, you can see that this sucker here is up against the wall on that side. So that's all the room I have unless I relocate the amp completely. I really don't want to do that. I can fit the wire in here. I'm pretty sure I can make the wire fit. The problem is going to be getting it to the terminals where it needs to go. I do have, hold on. I have a ghost of an idea. A little baby idea. Add the 0 to the alt. Just going to leave the stock one also. Yeah, you can leave the stock one alone. Just make sure that you're not compromising connections by leaving both of those two together. Make sure that your connections are solid, and that you go back and put some dielectric grease. Honestly, just get some of the really, really, really heavy, like marine grade grease, and put some of that on their connections. They'll stay there for freaking ever. And be sure to wear gloves when you mess with that grease, because you will get it all over everything. Just find the marine grade grease. That's what you want. You don't have to use dielectric grease. Just don't go crazy with it. Just put it on the connection. That's it. You can use it on grounds. Power wires, you gotta be careful. You don't want the grease and the you don't want to make a connection with it. So, you know. The funny thing is, dielectric grease is only dielectric until it gets contaminants in it, and then it's not dielectric anymore. It's kind of like, distilled water doesn't conduct electricity. But the moment that you put distilled water in a cup and it gets contaminated by the residual stuff that's in that cup, it conducts electricity now. So fill the cracks. Yeah, baby. You got to shove it in the cracks and stuff them hard. If there's a crack left that's not thoroughly stuffed, Bobby, you have failed to do your thing. Inside joke, guys. Inside joke. It goes back to the expandophone incidents, which was very fun. So I told you guys I had a ghost of an idea about the wire problem. Let's go to the front where I can show you the thing that inspired my idea. It's just a ghost. It ain't something that I can wrap my head around real quick. But we're going to look at it and we're going to talk about it. Because this wiring thing is going to be a bit of a bird dog. And by the way, you guys, before I pull that light up there, you see all the light up under here? That is all coming from that little strip up there. It's like a $10 light kit that I built. Lights up the whole engine bay. But I'm going to add more light. Do I have rear stiffer springs for the extra weight? Let me see. Do I have stiffer springs for the extra weight? And why? There you go. You were being broken there, Bobby B. Negative. I just have lots of practice in carrying a lot of weight around. Maybe there's a ghost raccoon out here or something. You guys see these things right here? These are the little bars for the AGM 80 from North Star. They're little bus bars that mount onto the battery. This is a fake battery. It's the battery delete. See if I can give you guys a closer look here. These guys. I'm wondering if I'll have to think about this. But I'm wondering if I could take these kind of guys and create a bus bar setup back there to connect the amp to, right? And then come off the bottom and go straight down to the battery. So creating an unnecessary connection in the middle so that I can get good 90-degree action going on. I think maybe I've gotten the idea across. I don't know. It's just in my brain, and it should make for an interesting experiment. But we're going to figure it out. We are going to get it done. It's going to happen. I just don't know exactly how yet. So no, I do not have stiffer springs. I pondered going to Amazon and getting some of the little spring boosters, the little screwy things that you put between the coils and kind of give them a little. I've done that before on some of my old cars back in the '80s, back before some of these people were even born. They worked, and they worked every time. So I mean, do they look like something that you should trust? No. They look like something you should run away from. But every time I've used them, and I've used them like in 3 or 4 vehicles back in the day, and they always work. So I do need to come up maybe a ½ inch to an inch. Maybe I'm just a little bit lower than I should be. Not much, very little, but a little bit. Now, could I go and buy some, springs from GP? Some of the no sag springs? Yeah, I could do that. I could do a lot of things. I could spend money in a lot of places, but I ain't got the money to do all that. But a couple of these little guys for about $30, I can probably swing that. Airbags, yeah, but they're not cheap, nor they're not cheap. That's the main thing. And then of course, once you get them, you also got to install them. That's more stuff. And I'm pretty good standing up, but you get me down on the ground and things start really going sideways. I don't do ground. I can't put my knees on anything. It absolutely kills me to touch anything with my knees. Jubb said, I can't find any 4 alt amp inputs. 4 times alt inputs. I've been scrolling eBay this whole time. To shove a 2-into-1 into each side of the existing 2. Oh, I see what you're trying to do. And yes, no, that's a terrible idea. That's a whole lot of things with opposing polarity that's close together and are not being held in place by nothing more than some tension. I do not like that plan, but it is creative. I was on it, dude. Tyler's Tyler, man. I'll see him again this weekend, and he'll be at the show. If you guys are going to be in Springfield, Missouri, Saturday at the Barn House, the Base Horse, I think it might be the finals of the season, I think. I could be wrong. I don't keep up with Base Horse. I barely keep up with Midwest SPL either. I just show up when there's a show. I don't really, but yeah. Yes. So Jubb says, does GP custom mill things? Yes. And some of it is like as part of the business. Like you can order stuff through the website. In some cases, it may be something that's an after hours job. Again, you pay for it, but it'll be something that's done when they can get to it after hours kind of stuff. It all depends. I have a shirt, but here's the thing: as much money as I spent through GP, he's talking about for an order over this amount to give you a shirt. That I should have like a dozen shirts. I should have shirts. I should have multiple shirts of every color. And I got one shirt, and I had to put him in a headlock to get that shit. You know what I'm saying? I had to take him by the mohawk and lock him down. And he's quick. But I do have one GP shirt. But if you ever get around him in person, Tyler is a freaking hilarious. Funny, kind-hearted, great guy. Absolutely hilarious and fun to be around. He's a complete goofball. Straight up guy though. At least he doesn't bullshit you. He tells you like it is. Has anybody else got any conundrums they would like to pose me with tonight? You know, I got one that I'm working out on my own. That wiring thing's going to be hilarious. It's going to be fun, and I think maybe doing these guys might be the jam. So follow my mental picture here, right? So I got the amp right here, right? Batteries down here, and then the two bars running like this, right? Come out of the amp to the bars, right? Jump, 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 jump. And down at the bottom of the bars, pull off. You know, that way I'm not dealing with that spider web. I've just got the two, you know. Does that make sense? And I ain't sure which one of them be ground and want to be positive, and then I have the longer runs over to that one and the shorter runs to that one, coming right out of the doublers, right? So I'm getting all that fed into those thick bars, and then pulling 4 wires off the bottom. I don't know. Maybe I could pull 4 off the bottom and then pull 4 over to the capacitor. So whenever I'm running the capacitor, which is on when the engine's on, it would have its own runs to the amp as well. I don't know. I'm tossing things around. So you guys got ideas? I'm all about ideas. You kind of have the idea what's in my head right now, hopefully. Yeah, I know. I'm a crazy person. Into the amp, 4 doublers. Right now there's 2 positives and 2 grounds running to the amplifier. So the amp comes with 2 positives and 2 grounds. And I'm going to run 4 doublers. So I'll have 4 positives and 4 grounds coming out of the amplifier. When it comes to boxes, you're talking about pre-built boxes or box types? Oh, ported. So Real Cisco Montana said, when it comes to boxes, which do I prefer? And he's talking about box types. Kind of depends on what you're doing. It's like which knife is best. Depends on what you're trying to cut. Similar thing with that, really. I know it's kind of a cop-out, but if I'm throwing a random box into a situation and I don't know what I'm going to be throwing it at, I would actually probably go with a sealed enclosure. I like the sound of a sealed enclosure. I've always liked the sound of a sealed enclosure. The cleanliness and tightness is just really good. But if you're wanting to maximize the frequencies and be the most scientific about it, honestly, it'd be a parallel 6th order. It's going to give you the best overall bass response from like 20 hertz to 60 hertz, that range. And it'd be the most efficient at doing that. A well-designed parallel 6th order is going to be the cleanest, most accurate way to get a ported, maximize efficiency and all that. All those things considered. If you're building a windy, you want to build windy wall, that's going to be a series 6th order, so you can get all the air moving in the same chamber, or a 4th order if you're more limited on space. because sixth orders tend to take a little bit more room. Not always, but they tend to. And if you're trying to build a pretty basic wall with a lot of thump and a lot of wind, a fourth order is the easiest one to design. It has the least amount of things you can screw up and the most amount of things that you can fix after you get done. And you're not having to go back and like completely rebuild. You just have to make some changes. So a fourth order, a big fourth order is that. A sixth order, if you've got plenty of room and you know what you're doing. Or a flat wall. I actually like flat walls too. So yeah, so much stuff that's so many variables in that. It's hard to call. For a basic box, though, if you're just building a box, a ported enclosure is going to give you the best of everything with the least amount of brains. Still gotta have brains, but you know. Yeah. Yeah, she's got a positive, two positives in the middle, and then the two negatives are on the top and bottom. And then I've got doublers, and I've got wire for those doublers too. Eric Tyson, what we got going on here? I want to upgrade my electrical. I have a red top battery and a 1 farad capacitor. My alternator is 135 amp with 2,000 amps and amps. What do I move first and second? Okay. Wow. Let's see. Are you saying that you've got 2,000 amps in amplifiers, meaning you've got a 20,000 watt system? I'm guessing you mean you've got a 2,000 watt amplifier, 2,000 watt in amps. Because if you're running 20K, you're either leaving a whole bunch of stuff out or you ain't even started yet. So I'm gonna go with 2,000 watts in amps. The first thing is that 1 farad capacitor is just an extra fire hazard and a waste of time. So, I mean, you can leave it in, but all you're doing is leaving connections in there that you don't need, and it's completely a waste of space. Now, just so you know that, if you like the way it looks, it's got a cool voltmeter, and you just want to keep it, fine. Just don't expect it to actually help you. That's what I'm trying to say. So you've got a red top battery. Yeah, see you later, Bobby. You have a good dinner, man. Eat some for me too. You got a red top battery, and you got a 135 amp alternator. I would same advice I give pretty much everybody. In this particular case, I would send you to Truck Thunder Lithium and look at the 5K, the little 5,000 watt battery for Trunk Thunder Lithium. That's what I would send you to. Put that in. That's your first jump. And with that alternator and 2,000 watts, it'll actually handle the system that you've got. Just putting that lithium battery from Trunk Thunder Lithium into that 5K will actually solve your problems. And actually above, you could support 4,000 or 5,000 watts off of what you've got with that one battery at it. Now you need to put that in the back somewhere, not up by the engine. You don't need to be under the engine blade. It needs to be back by the amplifier. But yes, that would solve it. The second, and I would also upgrade, do the big three. Upgrade your power wire, your ground wire. Your ground wire running from your engine block or the casing of the alternator or the bracket that holds the alternator. Get a heavy, like an alt gauge, run from that to your front battery, and run a second alt gauge power wire from that big lug on your alternator to the positive on your front battery, and then run a alt gauge negative from your battery's negative terminal down to the body. Then that's the first thing. The second thing is trunked under lithium. Get the 5K, put that in the back between your amplifier and the power wires coming back to it. Slip that bad boy in there. Ground and positive from the front to the back. Connect to that battery. Connect from there to the amplifier. Between, so you got amplifier, battery, and then the wires going up front. After the battery, fuse on that power wire. You need a fuse. Honestly, with 135 amp, I put a 200 amp fuse right there. And same thing in the front on your power wire. When it leaves the main battery and heads toward the back, fuse there. 2 or 250, something like that. So you got a fuse after the battery up front, and you got a fuse before that battery at the back. So all that section of wire in the middle is connected to a fuse on each end. If it gets shorted out anywhere, it'll blow those fuses and nothing burns down. That's how I would set it up. If you missed any of that, rewind. Hopefully, you'll be able to understand what I'm saying. And he's sending Bobby off. Everyone's telling Bobby to be safe, and Bobby is going to get down with some grub. So Eric says, yes, my fuse is combined with my battery terminal and distro block. Is that up in the, okay, battery terminal, okay. I'm guessing it's something from New Concepts. But most likely it's not going to be a 200 or 250 amp fuse that's in that distro block battery terminal. That's going to be something for other stuff to run off of, smaller fuses. And your main power wire that runs to the back needs to have a fuse in it. So you're going to want to put a separate fuse in that. If you're not fused, pay attention to where that big cable is running. If there's a fuse in between it and the battery, fine. If not, and pay attention to that wire, that one run, look at the way the metal is on the fuse thing, figure it out. If it's not for sure a fuse there, put one in that line as close to the battery as you can get it. And when you put the trunk thunder lithium in the back or any other battery, you need a fuse back there as close to that positive terminal as you can get it, so that wire connecting the front to back is fused on both ends. All right, cool. Long as you're, long as you made sure that that's the case and you're not just kind of making an assumption, and you're on top of it. Good job. If you got another one of those terminals, you could use it in the back and connect it so that when you hook up the trunk thunder lithium, put that bad boy on there, and now you've got it fused on both ends. And you want to fuse it. You're fusing the wire from the battery. So if you go to trunk thunder lithium, use my discount code CAE10, save 10% off of what you buy there. If you decide to go through Big Jeff and buy something, I got a discount code there too. Just CAE, capital C, capital A, capital E. That'll save you some money. That discount's going to vary depending on what you're buying. But it was me, and I know because I do what I'm telling you to do. This is what I do. It's what I tell my friends to do. It's what everybody does because I know it works. Is trunk thunder lithium, the 5K. That's what you want for your setup. That'll be overkill for what you've got, and it'll let you grow a lot. That with an upgraded alternator at some point in the future will support 10,000 watts. That 5K will, with an upgraded alternator. So you can go quite a bit higher than where you're at. And the beauty is that the battery, it's about the size of a lawn and garden, a lawn tractor battery, like a lawnmower battery. It's about the size of that. And it weighs a couple of pounds. It can be mounted upside down, inside out, round and round. Doesn't care. It's perfect for located in the back by your amplifier. Well, I'm going to tell you, Cap says, what's a good 15-inch sub to buy? 2 to 3,000 watts. I would say the 3015 from DefBonts, Apocalypse 3015, excellent, but the price is a little higher. So if you're wanting what I've been looking at myself, and I don't have anybody running them, so I can't speak on them personally, but all the specs tell me that these are good subs. And that's the Slaps 15, SLAPZ 15. Just Google Slaps, SLAPZ 15 sub. You'll find it, it'll pop up. They're wanting $250 for these things. 4-inch voice coil. Just really nasty looking sub for 250 bones. If I was going to buy a 15 right now, that's what I would probably go after, because the price is right and it looks like it has all the right characteristics. So yeah, I'd have to go with that. You know, I don't have any discount. I can't help you on discount codes for them. Big Jeff doesn't carry them, at least not yet, and I don't have any affiliation with them. So, but what I'm seeing in spec wise, they look like nasty subs, and for that price, I mean, you're looking at a sub that would normally cost somewhere around $600 to $700 based on those specs. So 250, jump all over that fast. If you're looking for a 15s, you want to do a 15-inch build, you can do 4 of them for $1,000, man. Where else you find that at? You know what I'm saying? And I think they're rated I think they were rated at 2,000 watts, maybe 2,500 watts. I don't remember for sure. Anyway, guys, I am going to call it. I'm going to go in the house, visit with the wife, who's already in there. She's going to come home and threw rocks at me. I still don't remember what the hell that green thing was. Anyway, I'm headed out, guys. It's been really good and really fun, and y'all been awesome. Peace out. Have a good one.